Hello and welcome back to intplusone channel. This is Carl and I wanted to actually use this video today to talk to you about some huge changes that are coming to Overwatch. Now, I've been kind of a big fan of Overwatch since I picked it up in, I believe, September. I've been playing on the PlayStation 4. I'm probably actually going to pick up the PC version because I want to start participating in the PTR. And at this point in time, unfortunately, the PTR is not available on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. So these patch notes came down for a new PTR update for February 7th. And there's a lot of new features. There's a lot of exciting things that are happening. And some of these are really potentially meta changing. So I wanted to talk about them and sort of give you my insight and my thoughts on that. So first off, one of the biggest changes, and it's here at the top, in the patch highlights, is that now there's going to be a server browser. So this is a big deal. One of the cool things that you can do for custom games is you can actually make all these different types of rules, cooldown period changes for ultimate abilities or even just regular abilities, health changes, stuff like that. A long time ago, before the actual arcade mode came around, there was an arcade game type that had really low cooldowns, and people would just, you know, they'd pick Mei or they'd pick Zarya, and they would just spam the walls, or they'd spam Graviton Surge, and they were hectic. And there's a good reason for some of these cooldowns. Especially Ana's Sleep Dart would put people to sleep, and then you could just rinse and repeat and basically lock someone down for the whole game. At the same time, custom rules actually give you an opportunity to really play around with the game and the system and how it works. So that's really cool. So you'll be able to make custom games, and people can join those. So instead of randomly matchmaking into quick play or matchmaking into ranked, this gives a huge amount of flexibility and choice to the game. And when I started playing the game, it was just either there was quick play, there was no arcade mode overall. There was competitive once you reached level 25, and then there would be like an extra game mode. And I'm trying to think of what that was called, but it was like weekly. It would change every Tuesday. So that's gone, and they've added a ton of modes now. And I am really impressed with what the Overwatch team has done. And I'm also really impressed with Jeff Kaplan and how he handles community outreach and how he handles the community in general. So server browser coming, that's really cool. Yeah, they're saying, if, for example, you want to increase Pharah's missile speed or remove the cooldown from McCree's combat role, the power is yours. OMG. That's pretty great. So the server browser is currently being tested, so we'll be making changes throughout the PTR. Thanks for helping us test the feature, and we're excited to see what you'll make of it. Alright, so a lot of people also really liked the capture the flag mode. The community favorite so far for any of these event-based game modes, you know, between Lucio Ball and Junkenstein's Revenge, actually. Junkenstein's Revenge has been the most popular, and that was a PvE mode, kind of a horde or, you know, defend the point kind of horde mode. They're not, I think, quite ready to do PvE yet, but I think that that's something that, given the community response, we're going to see a revisit and hopefully a permanent mode in arcade. But Capture the Flag was basically presented to the community with the Lunar New Year event, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely very unbalanced, and so they're not necessarily talking about bringing this to ranked. In fact, they're explicitly stating that they're not at the moment. Well, it's funny here. It actually says Capture the Rooster has been, without a doubt, Overwatch's most popular brawl. I actually disagree with that. If you really look at what the community has said about the brawls in general, Junkenstein's Revenge definitely had the most excitement around it. Maybe that'll change. I don't know. But we're going to see that in the PTR, and that'll probably be pushed to live, I bet you, within the next week or two. So there have been a number of maps also added to this. So far, for the Lunar event, it's only been Lijiang Tower. Now it looks like they're actually adding it to Ilios and Oasis. Oh, and Nepal. And I said Oasis, Oasis, which, depending on how they do it in Ilios, that'll be kind of crazy because there's that big hole, the well, and of course then there's the bounce pads in Oasis, and I actually really like Oasis, so that's cool too. All right, so now there's going to be a number of hero updates, and some of these updates actually are more like options changes, like this one for Ana that actually is nano boost sensitivity. That's not actually like a new ability or anything like that. That's just sort of how it kind of locks onto people. I've seen a lot of videos on Reddit where people are like, oh no, it locked onto to Mercy, and I meant for it to, you know, go to Roadhog or Reinhardt or whoever. And so a lot of, you know, nano boosts tended to pick the wrong target. So this is actually a big change on that, and I'm kind of excited about that. Bastion. All right, so Bastion is probably the biggest change that I'm seeing. And Bastion has been through a lot, actually, since the game was even in beta. Because in beta, he used to actually have a forward-facing shield, but he also had a limited 90-degree rotation. So he could only kind of move so far left and so far right when he was in his sentry mode. They took the shield away because it made certain types of approaches to Bastion almost infeasible. Like, stick him in a corner, he can see all the way left and right, he's got a shield in front of him, you gotta kind of survive long enough to take him down, and a lot of people didn't like that. In fact, it was, from what I understand, so overpowered that it was a huge deal. So we've kind of had we've seen some small changes with Bastion, but there's some big ones now. So in sentry mode, or actually, rather, going into sentry mode, instead of it taking 1.5 seconds to transform from what is called recon mode, where he's walking around, into sentry, it now takes 1 second, so that's been decreased. Bullet spread increased by 50%. That's the actual overall width of the shots in sort of a conical area. The bullet spread is always at maximum. It used to kind of start straight and then fan out, and sometimes this is done for balance reasons. So instead of having like concentrated bullets that are going to do more damage at a specific focal point, this widens the focal point. Now this is in part because they're also increasing the magazine size from 200 to 300, so you can fire longer. Your shots are more spread out, so it's kind of a way to balance that, is how I'm interpreting it. Now, before, you actually did get a headshot multiplier when shooting people, if it managed to actually hit them in the head. That's being removed, and basically, instead of that, it's just straight damage. And yeah, no longer deals critical damage. So it used to be, I think, base of 480 damage per second. Now that might have changed a while ago. I haven't checked the in-game stats for that in a while. All right, so in recon mode, where he's up and around, his bullet spread has been decreased, so he has a more focused shots. So his gun is going to function a bit more like Soldier 76. I think his shots per shot do 24 points of damage, and I think Soldier 76 is 25. That may have changed. It's hard to keep track of that, but it's somewhere in like the mid to high 20 range per shot landed. So that's actually pretty good. And they're also giving him more shots, so his actual clip size is about closer now to Soldier 76 too. So before, his gun was kind of almost significantly weaker, especially when the magazine size was taken into consideration than Soldier 76. All right, self-repair. His ability to heal himself, big deal. So for a long time, if you got shot, stop your self-repair, and if you were moving, it would stop your self-repair. Now you can use it while you're moving, and it looks like they're changing what key it's bound to. I don't know how this is going to play out for console, but they're saying that it's now bound to the secondary fire. No longer interrupted by taking damage, so kind of like Roadhog, where he basically heals his own health. He can now let me think of how I want to word it. So you can shoot Roadhog and he can still heal himself. This is now going to be the case with Bastion, so that's a big deal. Now they have actually nerfed his tank configuration, so he no longer gets that bonus yellow armor, the increase in health that we saw when he went into tank mode. And he has a new passive ability called Ironclad. So passive abilities, if you don't know what those are, that's kind of like Sombra's ability where she can see people with low health through walls. This is something that you don't specifically activate. This is just going to be a part of that mode. So now he's going to take 35% less damage in sentry or tank configuration. So this makes Bastion viable. This makes Bastion incredibly viable on defense and potentially on capture the flag. And that's up to that's an opinion thing, right? And the developer comments were the goal of these changes were to move some of Bastion's power from configuration sentry to recon while keeping its sentry mode a strong option, especially versus tanks and barriers. Overall, Bastion should feel stronger and more flexible with these changes. I actually kind of think that these changes are going to be so extreme that Bastion will not only be viable, I think he might be overpowered in some circumstances, and I suspect that he will be re-nerfed after this. And we saw this with D.Va's health, where they gave her extra armor and then kind of took it back. That's alright, though. Alright, D.Va's got some changes to Defense Matrix. This was the ability that that kind of captures projectiles and deletes them out of the game. But there was like a time limit, or there was kind of like a silent timer that would not do it if they were right next to you. And so now it's an immediate deletion, and we're going to see how that goes. An interesting change for Mei is that now Mei can be the target of allies while in cryo freeze. So while she goes into her ice block, or if you have that cool winter skin where she becomes a snowman, so, like, if you want to stick a Discord orb on her, or if you want to heal her with Mercy's, Mercy's Caduceus Staff, that's now possible. Some huge changes for Mercy. And so, I'm a bit of a Mercy main. I try not to exclusively main characters. I know how that's tended to be viewed by the community, but I do play Mercy a lot more than other characters. That said, they're changing the way that Resurrect works. So now, if you're resurrecting somebody, it will actually make you invulnerable. I'm a little mixed about this, though. So I've never really had a problem getting off Mercy's ult. In fact, pretty much the moment I hit the button, heroes never die. Even if I get shot right away, they still tend to res. So I'm actually afraid that this is too overpowered. It makes her invulnerable, but it also makes the other characters invulnerable. And that's a big deal. That's like in older 2D games where you'd get hit and you'd flash for a moment and be completely invulnerable. That's kind of the same idea that I'm getting from this. And so I have very mixed feelings about that. Now, I guess healing-wise, they changed targeting for Zenyatta, so if he's, doing Transcendence, Experience Tranquility, you can no longer target him. That makes some sense. So, like, if your beam maybe locks onto him instead of someone else who needs healing, but that's kind of a small deal. They have control options for sensitivity for the Guardian Angel when she jumps forward towards another player. And it looks like also you can adjust the beam sensitivity as well. Alright. Same deal with Sombra. She's got a hack sensitivity. They made a small change to the way that Torbjorn's reload animation works. I've actually run into this a little bit where I've started the reload animation and I thought it should have been reloaded by the time I fired. So this is just kind of a quality of life change, but it's a big deal too for anyone who plays a lot of Torbjorn. Widowmaker can adjust her hook sensitivity. Zarya can adjust her projected barrier sensitivity. And Zenyatta can also have Harmony Orb and Discord Orb sensitivity. So those aren't big changes there. For Eichenwald, there's a map balance change. A second gate no longer closes after the payload passes through the castle doors. Instead, rubble from the damaged doorway partially blocks the entrance. So once the payload would enter the castle, it would actually drop the gate down, which was interesting, actually. I do like that as a design decision. I'm not sure why they're changing this. Well, actually, it says right here, once the offensive team gets through the castle entrance, the map becomes very heavily stacked in the defense's favor. This change will give the offense more entrance options, which should improve the map's overall balance. So that makes sense. Because once it's shut again, you only have the two side entrances on Eichenwald Castle. So I can kind of see that. Alright, also, let's see. Some general bug fixes. Fixed an issue preventing key bindings on the communication wheel. Anything... Experience gained, fixed a bug, preventing the 60 seconds remaining and 30 seconds remaining voice lines from playing during the second round of the max. You know, when I first played the game, I didn't hear 60. I always heard 60. 60 seconds remaining. But, alright, cool. Let's see here. Looks like they fixed a bug with Lucia's sound barrier, with Reinhardt's shield displaying cracks. Oh, okay. It looks like that was bugged with the Wuzhong Lunar New Year skin. Fixed a bug that allowed Roadhog to turn freely. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Torbjorn can now construct turrets on the stairs in Oasis. That's really good. That was kind of weird that you could not do that. Especially someone who plays a lot of Torbjorn. I'm actually happy to see this change. And fixed an issue that caused highlight intros to clip into the roof of a building. I've actually never seen that glitch. I'll have to check that out. Now, there's some other things, actually, that are kind of interesting. So, I know I really just want to talk about the patch notes, but there's a lot of hype and excitement about the possibility of Terry Crews being Doomfist. And he's been playing it up a lot, too, actually. I was watching this guy, O'Nickel, talk about it, which was a good video, actually. And I've been kind of following along. If you don't know who Terry Crews is, he's well known for, like, the Old Spice deodorant commercials. He was also on some kind of cop TV show, I think. But I don't watch television, so I don't know. But... on the Numbani level, actually, which is the one with basically the objective of delivering the Doomfist fist to the museum, there's cracks in the glass, according to someone who looked at the texture data in there. So that's really interesting. And I kind of feel like we're sort of being fed, not really another alternate reality game like with Sombra, but more like a, you know, this is happening, it seems like it's happening, the community wants it, Terry Crews wants it, and everyone just wants a new hero, and they've always sort of teased at Doomfist, but I'm thinking it's happening. So that's what's going on, and man, that's a lot. That is, I mean, they have been on the ball with the, you know, once Sombra was finally released, the new Oasis map, all these skins. I love the Christmas skins. I love the Lunar New Year skins. Those May skins are amazing. And I know that supposedly, I guess they made May look too thin or something like that. I think she's adorable. And I kind of suspect that, you know, it's sort of like it sort of squeezes her stomach in, kind of like a corset. It does still look a little unnatural. I don't know if they're going to fix it. I don't personally care. Both of her Lunar New Year skins, the Shang-E and the, is it just called Luna? I can't remember. I think it's called Luna. But both of those skins are beautiful. I'm actually a big fan of the Shang-E. And I also really like the Wuzhong and the Bajie skin. Bajie for Roadhog, and I don't remember what I just said before. The Wuzhong for Reinhardt. So that's what I've got for you right now. Those Bastion changes, though. These patch notes, though. Tell me what you think. I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't normally do videos like this, so this is a bit of an experiment for me. But I I just wanted to talk about it. I'm a huge Overwatch fan, and I'm really kind of getting into competitive gaming. I've been playing a lot of Siege. I'm trying to get up to, I think it's level 25 in that game, so I can play their ranked mode. And I might consider broadening to other competitive online games or squad-based shooters. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to check us out, and let's keep doing the thing. I'll see you next time.